Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery. Grading the beer throughout the episode, so pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
That's right, this is State of My Sports, and this is episode 163, recording live on June 27th, outside on the deck. I love recording out. It's a little chillier than last time, but
It's nice, though.
it is nice. During our DeHop's Beer Flight segment, we will discuss star, and star. Now, you guys are supposed to tell me what we're talking about, but what was yours? Deshaun Watson.
We're going to talk about
Deshaun Watson. We're going to talk about
I don't know.
Detroit Tigers in the A.J. Hinch stuff.
I was going to
going
be Brittany Griner, but
Is that what you're doing?
we'll figure it
And then
out.
John, is it a surprise? Is it a surprise what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, it's going to lead us into our main topic. Yeah,
Perfect.
a little takeaway from the NBA draft on Thursday.
Nice. I love that. And then some Detroit Lions stuff as well. We're going to touch on it all, pretty much.
Sweet.
And we're going to jump into the main topic. Pistons.
Yeah.
Heck of a draft.
Crushing.
Oh, man.
Heck of a draft. People are excited about that. We're going to dig into it. Talk about all the good stuff there. And then kind of talk about what's next for them. What's the rest of the offseason going to look like? And then the Detroit Red Wings, a little bit of that with the Stanley Cup done. And the Unrivaled documentary that came out yesterday that we watched. That was pretty good. We're going to talk about that, which will be a lot of fun.
Did you guys watch that together?
We did,
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man. I was sitting at my house just waiting for an invite, and it just never came.
Really?
Yeah, I was just looking out the window.
It's funny because
Waving.
Andrea's like, were you going to invite Ryan? I'm like, I doubt he really wants to. He's been gone all day.
Yeah, I wouldn't have come.
Yeah, I figured that. You made me feel bad for a second.
Oh, you're all set.
No, I'm good. I'm glad. I was going to feel bad for a minute, but I decided not to. I'm going to put together another Dinger Tuesday, and I actually have two of them laid out. One of them's a lot of detail. One of them is just like a quick and easy one. I'm going to let Ryan decide between the two. And, of course, we're going to grade some Michigan beer from Saugatuck Brewing Company. Shout out to them. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know what you are sipping on tonight, and let us know what your thoughts on all of our topics and be part of the conversation. We'll read your comments, all that good stuff. John's got the comments ready to go. Before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery of State of My Sports. Mac Web Design helped us get our website up and running, and bettinghero.com helps us, and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. I am Sam Waltart. With me today is Micah Smith, Ryan Waltart, and hold on, and John Dornboss.
We're back
Look at
here.
that.
We are
Look
back here behind the scenes.
Yes, it's not the prettiest shot, but John gets in the way. Everything else would look really nice.
It's a little dark under the deck here.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Oh,
once
shoot, I
Is
should've-
that a bad
should I have
camera
set the-
quality or what?
Once
I
these,
hope not.
yeah.
That camera.
Once these overhead lights
man,
set the moon, we'll be
look
good.
at that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that
Oh, we're up
lighting's
on
not
the-
the best.
Up
is
on
it?
the big screen.
I like the
Shoot.
big screen.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Well, play-by-play.
we're missing. We're just messing with stuff.
We got an outdoor studio in here.
Yeah, I gotta get this camera dialed in. I don't know what's up with that color. That's my bad. I thought I had it dialed in, but maybe John changed it.
Did you get it
up.
today?
I got it on Saturday, actually.
Look at that. Investing back in the company. I knew my
right?
paycheck was getting put to good work.
Right? I mean, yeah.
Good use.
At least
Well,
you
hey,
know.
never mind. We'll talk about what I have to say off air. But how was your guys' weekends? Anything exciting happen? Ryan and I were at a wedding together.
Yeah, that was fun.
Ooh.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was a good time.
It was very warm.
It was very warm.
It was very warm.
It was like one of those that like drank a crap ton of beer in high noons. It started with high noons, ended with beer because I was like, if I drink high noons this whole time, I'm gonna be at a different level.
Yeah.
So I switched to like a light beer. I think I was drinking PBR because that was the light beer that they had.
Yeah, you went something else first though, didn't
Shandy.
you?
Yeah, I had
okay.
a little bit of shandy, but I probably had 15 beers.
Yeah.
Like total.
Yeah.
But I didn't like feel that drunk because we were just dancing and sweating it all out. I was feeling good.
That's true. It's basically a sauna in there.
Yeah,
So
it
you
was-
just keep on going.
It was really fun though.
Who was the better dancer?
Boot and rally.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, those
But
are
we do.
fighting words.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to dance off.
No.
Keep talking like
Yeah.
that.
Just come to a
Man.
wedding. Come to a wedding with us, and you guys can be the judge.
Yeah, I think I would say
it's pretty even.
I would say
different value, like different.
Yeah.
We do different things well.
No, but both bring a lot of value.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
okay.
like an MJ Pippen thing, and one of us is MJ. So
Ooh, have fun fighting over that.
I would say like
I'm just kidding.
I would say like an MJ LeBron thing. That some might think one's better than the other, and they might be wrong.
They might.
Or they might be right. You never know. And you guys be the judge of which one's which.
This is what everybody wants to hear about.
Right? Let's just keep
Our
keep
dancing
it-
ability.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I see it this weekend.
Why? What's this weekend?
4th of July?
Oh, yeah. I don't dance at 4th of July. Sorry. I forgot about that.
Huh?
So
We're going to have to change that.
rule number 6.
What day is that?
Monday.
Monday.
Monday. Okay,
So probably not doing an episode next week Monday.
I think I have a party Friday, Saturday. No. I don't know. Friday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
And maybe even a Tuesday.
Sounds awesome. I
Wow.
wish I had that much fun.
Just too many weekends in a row, though.
Yeah.
It's catching up to me.
I honestly think I had probably 30 beers this weekend. And that's a lot for me. It is. I don't think I drank on Friday, though.
kind
did
of
I?
a lot in general.
You kind of had to save it for the following day, right?
Yeah, so I don't remember what Friday insisted of. I might have drank. I don't remember. But then the wedding, I drank a lot. And then I had a diaper party at my house on Sunday. And, of course, I'm just going to drink a ton of beer that night. So, and it didn't stop. Like, we got started at 2, and I didn't stop till whatever time you guys left after the hockey game.
Well, that was late.
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah. So
Congrats, Sam. I didn't know you had another one on the way. You had
Right.
a diaper party here?
Well, it was for my friend Justin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
No,
Thought you
definitely
just
not
having some
me.
problems.
Yeah.
If it was Andrea, we'd be having a different conversation. That's for sure.
Would you be having a conversation?
How was your weekend, John? What'd you guys do?
I spent the weekend with a 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy. My girlfriend picked up a dog on Saturday morning.
Did it fit through the door? Did you have to take the door off?
Oh, no, the dog is small enough right now, but the thing is growing like by the minute. It's
Yeah?
like a weed. It's pretty funny.
That's
but
fun.
yeah, she had to work on Sunday, so I got to watch the dog and brought my dog along too.
Oh, that's
So
weird.
little puppy play date, and outside of that, pretty low key, just making sure the thing isn't, making any messes or chewing up my shoes.
Did your dog get along with the little puppy? Or
For a
was
while.
there a little rivalry
Yeah,
there?
but that German Shepherd's got some sharp nails right now.
Okay.
And the teeth on that thing are razor sharp as well. So one time I went to let him out the door, and the German Shepherd puppy jumped like on the back of my dog, and she turned around like,
Not happy with that.
I don't know, kind of pushed that one to the side. And, outside of that, it was a good time.
Good.
What'd they name the
Yeah.
dog?
River. Yep.
River.
Yep. She's 8 weeks old. 10.5 pounds, ready to rock and roll. Gonna be probably a pretty decent
Pretty
sized
big.
dog.
Pretty
yeah.
big dog.
Cool looking dog though. The color variations on the dog are pretty unique.
Yeah.
Real blonde ears, and then it's got like real dark paws with like lighter like nails and pads. It's
Yeah.
kind of freaky looking. Looks like a little wolf cub. So
Man, that'll be fun.
yeah, it'll be a sharp dog. We'll see how it goes.
Puppies are a lot of work.
Yes,
I've
they
heard.
are.
I've never
Yep.
dealt with it, but I've heard.
Yeah, that first night was a little tough to sleep, but
Yeah.
I don't
So they
know.
just sit there and cry the whole time, right?
Yeah, and like when we picked it up from the breeder said that the other puppy that was in that litter that this one like played with and like hung out with most of the time had left Friday night. So like it was like sad all night Friday. We got it
gosh.
Saturday morning. Like eyes were all watery, like droopy looking. Like,
Yeah.
The ride home was fine. It took a little while for the dogs to all get together, but
Nice.
outside of that, yeah, I mean they kind of like a baby. They eat, sleep, they
Poop.
poop, and they run on like 10, 15 minutes of good energy, and then
They're out again.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that part's cool, but that'll change here real soon.
Yeah.
A little older to get.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to walk that thing constantly. Micah, what'd you do this weekend? Anything exciting?
I got some work done in the backyard, and we had your kids over for a sleepover.
That's right. I forgot about
So
that.
we got to do some swimming, hang out on the tramp, play in the yard. So, yeah.
While that
Very nice.
was
Yeah.
that while Sam was drinking 15 beers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It was not my finest weekend when it came to quantities of drinking, but
Hey, sometimes you gotta.
sometimes you gotta
let
let
loose.
loose. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't get invited to very many weddings, and I wonder why, but That probably has a lot to do with it.
You met your monthly quota in 1 week.
I really did. I was thinking about tonight. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna drink. I want to at least try what we're drinking tonight. Let's actually get right into that. What are we drinking tonight? Anybody? I don't want to move.
This is kind of your go-to, it seems like, these days. Another one of these summer shandies, right?
Yeah, strawberry lemonade shandy from Saugatuck Brewing Company. We all know where Saugatuck is.
Saugatuck.
5% alcohol by volume. It says, tastes like summer. You're craving something light-bodied, refreshing, and unique. That's why we created our tasty version of a Rattler. What?
Yeah, Rattler.
I don't know what that means.
What's a rattler?
With
It's,
an added
It's a poisonous snake, I think.
No, it's a German. It's a German beer that it's like really common with the younger generation in
Oh, really?
Germany as they're growing up. Yeah, because like 14, 16-year-olds they drink over
They
there.
drink just like lower percentages? Or
Yeah, so it's like part beer, part lemonade.
something? Okay. Oh, so it's just a shandy. It's just a different word for shandy?
Yeah, they literally like pour. I think it's like part. So they pour the beer and then they pour the lemonade. They just like mix the drinks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then a shandy would be actually brewed with the lemon?
I think so. I think that would be the difference.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I don't know if people are going
I
to
don't
get
know,
that.
but yeah,
we'll see.
that's what I was drinking after mountain biking. It was just
Yeah.
refreshing, and I didn't want it for the beer. I wanted it for the refreshness.
So they added a twist of strawberry flavored. The tart citrus of lemon and sweet freshness of strawberry flavors combine to create a perfectly delightful beer.
There you go.
Well
Beer.
done.
Perfectly
Well done.
delightful. What do you guys think so far? I haven't even tried it yet.
You know who would like this beer? It's Kyle.
Oh, he loves shandies and rattlers.
And lemon in his beer.
Yeah. Loves that kind of stuff. No,
No,
but what do you guys think so far?
It's a good beer so far.
Yeah?
I like that they incorporated strawberry into the lemonade. You don't see that a whole lot. You see just lemon shandies everywhere.
Definitely
So-
gives it something different, right?
Right.
It's washing down that spicy chicken sandwich I got from Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right
I
now.
was so mad you didn't bring that. And then you had the waffle fries sitting
What
there.
time do they close?
I think 10.
All right, let's hurry this up.
Yeah, right? Before we jump into our DeHop's Beer Flight segment, I want to remind everyone that DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is serving incredible food and pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Chef Dan's revamped food menu and head brewer Ben's rotating taps, wine and ciders make the hops perfect for whatever you have going on, from dinner with the family, late night drinks with friends, and everything in between. The Ben and Dan duo is putting a ton of their time and energy at making DeHop's a staple in the West Michigan restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. They have Taco Tuesday, Stein Night Wednesday, Thursday, any burger and beer for $15, along with some unbelievable specials on Fridays and Saturdays. We highly recommend following them on Instagram and Facebook, where they share their weekly specials, some incredible food and beer pictures that will make your mouth water. DeHop's is the official brewery of State of My Sports in 2022, and if you mention State of My Sports, you'll get a nice little discount off your first beer.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
All right, who wants to go first? So, John, you said it's going to lead into our our next topic, so we should probably save yours for last. Is
Yeah,
that fair to
I'll
say?
go first.
I can back clean up.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about how after this many episodes, you still stumble every time on Chef Dan's revamped food menu and head brewer Ben's rotating. It's just hard.
Is this your flight segment, or are you just being mean?
No, this is my flight segment. I just want ideas on how we can like revamp this read. Just right there. Just revamp the read in that one spot. That's my challenge for you of going into next week.
So
Now-
All right, I'll
So it
change
is both.
6 words.
all right, I'll move on to what you have prepared for me for my flight segment. I appreciate the help. All right, so there apparently, according to reports out right now, there is for AJ Hinch, manager of the Detroit Tigers. He apparently does not have an opt-out clause in his contract.
Really?
And the reports are saying from Ken Rosenthal that the contract is through 2025, and it's longer than Al Avila's current contract.
Oh.
So
Okay. All right.
I thought that it was interesting because the original reports were just saying that it was a multi-year deal, and he obviously Hinch does not get into any information or direct details about his contract.
Right.
But this means that he's around for at least if they want to keep him around, he's around for the long haul. Here.
Right.
And through miserable season, like right now that they're going through, he's going to have to see this thing through. And if Avila goes and Hinch is the one that's left over, something tells me he wouldn't mind that.
100%. You've got a guy who knows what he's doing. You've seen his body of work. And then he comes into an organization with a dysfunctional GM. And at that point, he's thinking further down the road, maybe if this guy kicks it and I'm still left here, this would be a perfect situation for me to vie for a different GM of my liking to come in. It's great as we look down the road further.
Or is Hinch aiming for a GM job?
So that's something that I was thinking about. Is it really a GM job that he wants, or does he want to pick his own GM?
Yeah, he might.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the control
where
that he has
have the
seems,
control.
Yeah,
which it seems like he had in Houston, a little bit more control than it seems like he has here in Detroit, because he got Al Avila kind of doing his thing, and it's just weird to me that. But then you like going to like AJ Hinch, like nobody's even saying the real deal. You know what I mean? No, like it's just a report. Originally, it was a multi-year deal, reported with a second-year opt-out.
Yeah,
and nobody shut that down. Now all of a sudden, Ken Rosenthal saying there is no opt-out. Actually, Al Avila came out and said there was no opt-out. But then AJ Hinch gets questioned, and
he
doesn't really discuss it. He didn't like deny it. He didn't say anything. He doesn't talk about it. It's just like,
so why would Al Avila come out and say that he doesn't have an opt-out?
I don't know.
Because he's afraid of losing him.
Yeah, I don't think he would lie to us necessarily. But I also feel like he's so stupid, he might not realize it. I really do. I really think that's a possibility.
I tell you what, he is under more. He's getting more fan scrutiny right now, in maybe an undeserved way compared to previous seasons when you could have thrown him under the bus and it didn't seem like nobody was really calling for his job. But the optimism going into this year and then the failure to live up to that optimism has really thrown the city against him. It feels like.
Yeah, and it's on his own. He's doing it to himself. He was the one that said the rebuild was over. He was the one that said we're going to start spending money in 2022.
And then go get Baez, who's been a huge disappointment.
But like, I mean, when he spends money, it doesn't go well. That's proven. Not just this year. His trades are continuing to be awful. His draft is what it is. You can't really dig into that a ton. I mean, he's had his misses, he's had his successes, but then it's like, I don't know. It's just the scrutiny is definitely there more than it has been, but it's just a weird situation, and I want to know what's going on. I want to know if he does have an opt out, or is that like, I mean, could he just move without an opt out? I don't know all of these rules of what he can and can't do, and I just wonder like, what's going on? Is he mad? Does he hate working for Avila, and this is his opportunity to be like, hey, it's me or him. Let me pick my guy.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna walk.
Well, and really, like, to me, if they're just losing right now, but the organization is sound, and at the top they have direction, they have a plan. They're saying, okay, it hasn't worked out. There's injuries. There's young players. Like we're gonna weather the storm and move forward. Then I'm not that concerned about it. But what I'm afraid of is this turmoil within the city and the pressure that it's going to put on the front office here, that they're going to start falling apart within themselves. And when they start imploding inside of the organization, there goes the direction. Then you start making panic moves. Then you start overpaying on a trade. Then you start looking at like trying to get an impact right now guy in the draft when you should think long term about that. And so I don't want that. If they're going to start being reactive rather than proactive based on this year's record, which I don't care about. I don't care about this year's record. I want the players to come in and get, like, I'm looking at this and saying Alex Faedo and Joey Wentz and Brisky and these guys that are getting time, this is valuable for the organization long haul. I'm right there with you. I don't want them to lose. I'm not rooting for them to lose, but a lot of this is out of our hands. Casey Mize went down. That wasn't anybody's fault. So
do you think the unknown of the long-term plan, the unknown of Avila, the unknown of Hinch, the unknown of the full game plan from the top with ownership, does that start playing into the role of the locker room with young guys and veteran. Like, you have a weird mix there. But if they don't know if this is their long-term guy, they lose respect for him. And I think like the Red Wings kind of ran into that with Blashill, the question of, is he going to come back? How much respect do I give him? Did he lose the locker room? Like, all of those things like come into play. Does that happen in baseball?
Well, it does with your manager though, but not with Al Avila. I mean, he should be far enough removed where the players have no say over his decision making. Now, AJ Hinch, I don't think he's losing his team. I think they still believe in him. I think he's a likable guy in general. If you watch his interviews, he's personable. I don't think he's losing his team. He can probably play it down just to circumstances. But what I go back to is I'm afraid that the high end, the top end of the organization, if they are feeling the pressure and they start to panic and they don't play to their direction, like that's what we saw the Lions. It's like they were losing all their games. Yeah, but they stayed the course. They played hard. They're doing the right thing. Now, what did they do this year? They go out and get more defense. They get high end, draft players or guys in the draft. Like, it seems like they have a direction and they're not breaking from what they're trying to build. Same thing with the Pistons. You could say right now, I mean, they have a direction. So if the Tigers are just saying this is a one-off bad stretch of baseball and that we can live with because our direction is right, then I'm okay with it. But that's if you start seeing more and more reports about the turmoil at the top end of the organization, he's done. Al Avila's not lasting very long.
And it'll be his head, not anybody else.
Oh, it'll be Avila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot, I had a question. Dang it, I hate when that happens. I had like a question that was really... Oh, so, sorry, you brought up kind of like losing the locker room type stuff, how it's okay with what we're doing. They're getting the experience, blah, blah, blah. When does that happen? When do these players start being like, oh, the day again. We got to go through this again. And then it just starts unraveling and just is not productive anymore. Like, I feel like we've gone on we're not in a bad stretch right now. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. But how close are we to that unraveling that could just turn into a disaster, where you got a guy like Baez who's known to just kind of be a cancer in a locker room when things aren't going good? Like, I'm just waiting for that to happen, and it's making me nervous.
Could.
And then you got the Eduardo Rodriguez stuff. You got Austin Meadows, who's still out with COVID, and like, it just seems longer than anything. Like, like, it's just...
Riley Green just got back. I mean, Torkelson's been bad to start the year.
Yeah.
Slow. Again, there's reasons for all this stuff. Optimism is assuming that everybody's playing at the high end, right, at their capabilities, and that everybody's healthy. That very rarely happens. We saw it for a long stretch with the Tigers, in the early 2010s, but that's not the norm. That doesn't always happen. Most pitching rotations go through injuries. We've just happened to go through a lot of injuries this year. A lot. The majority of our pitchers are injured.
Yeah.
So how are you supposed to be competitive on a night in, night out basis when you're hoping they go 5?
Yeah. I guess I'm not necessarily concerned with being competitive. I'm concerned with
losing,
getting old.
As a player, do you ever blame yourself for being bad, or do you always go to the coaches and say they are not?
I always blame myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think if there are ways for them to escape this and just blame circumstances, because players will blame themselves. And a good manager like AJ Hinch will probably blame himself too. Yeah. So then he tries to take that pressure off. But again, if the direction is lost at the highest end, Avila's gone.
Yeah, it'll just be really interesting to see how this year plays out with the unknown of Avila, the unknown of Hinch. And I guess we can cross that bridge when we get closer to the draft.
Yeah, we'll see more and more.
Yeah.
A good second half of the season, everybody's going to say, oh, but did you see their second half numbers?
Yeah. Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah. John, Micah, you want to go next? What was yours?
Yeah, I would love to go next. I want to talk about what the armpit of America truly is, and that is Ohio. More specifically, we're talking Cleveland.
Ugh.
Cleveland doing Cleveland, okay? So they trade for Deshaun Watson, which is just okay. It's not odd, yet it is odd.
It's
right. So
it's a very Cleveland thing to do,
right? So they have a serviceable, very disgruntled Baker Mayfield, and they decide to bring in Deshaun Watson and really solidify that position, except Deshaun Watson is having some serious personal issues, right? So he's
24, I think.
yeah,
cases.
I
two.
think more than that. It's like 26.
Somehow it's only 26
Personal
lawsuits.
issues.
and
Every time he settles a lawsuit, another one gets added to
Yeah.
it. It's just been
so
sitting
yeah,
there.
so seemingly every week, there's another lawsuit with this guy coming out, and so it's kind of funny to hear that Baker Mayfield possibly heading to Seattle as of the last 24 hours.
I didn't hear that, really.
Yep. So rumblings on Twitter right now, the Browns are finalizing a trade with the Seattle Seahawks that will send Baker Mayfield to Seattle in exchange for a 2023 third and a 2024 fourth round pick. So they are shipping out, possibly shipping out Baker Mayfield to Seattle, and Deshaun Watson is most likely going to be suspended for the entire year, only to pay him a total of $240 million guaranteed.
Well, this year
for-
it's, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
$46 million this year,
yeah.
or
Like
however they
guaranteed,
figured
then
it.
$1 million for the.
Only for Jacoby Brissett to start.
That makes the deal so bizarre. I'll go back to that word.
Which part? Which deal? Sorry.
The guaranteed money
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in like the complete uncertain scenario and situation he's in.
Right. So this deal's been out. We've all known about it, but just how bizarre is the whole situation? Why would Cleveland even do this? You're a fringe playoff team. You bring in someone that has a serious problem. And
meanwhile, you have Baker Mayfield, which, look, he was bad last year. He also
That's-
battled injuries all year
Yeah.
long.
And they like. I don't want to say that they're better than a fringe playoff team, but I think they are better than a fringe playoff team. They were a very good playoff team 2 years ago until
right.
Baker Mayfield went through what he did, and everything obviously hit the fan with Odell, and it just wasn't a good year. It went very poorly, and I get that. But man, this team is a lot closer. Which is why you go get a Deshaun Watson and hope for the best. But man, they're getting caught with their pants down.
But is it worth it? I mean, if you were a fan, would you be all about exactly what's happening?
I
to give out
think
that money.
This type of a risk is, as a GM, you put yourself on a spot that if it doesn't work out, that is your head. You are done.
100%.
But if it works out, holy smokes, you are a genius. You know what I mean? And it looks really bad right now. It looks really bad. It looks like it has zero chance to succeed. But I'm telling you, there could be, what if the NFL considers last year as his 1 year suspension? And instead of a 2 year suspension, they give him a year plus 4 games.
Do you think they
or
do
plus,
that?
I don't know what the NFL is going to do. I really don't. I mean, you got Roger Goodell testifying in all these other things, including that, I think. He's got so much going on. I'm sure he's going to be so angry that he's wasting his time with all this stuff and this BS that is on top of the Deshaun Watson stuff.
He's trying to figure out what country to put the NFL in next, and he's got to go deal with this.
He's got more to worry about, and all of a sudden he's in court constantly trying to figure out all the drama. It's he's probably going to be angry and just take it out on Deshaun.
Can I also just bring up how little value that is for Baker Mayfield, a future third and a future fourth?
Yeah, so I did want to connect that. I would do that.
Yeah,
for the Lions.
I would want the Lions to do that just as a shot in the dark that Mayfield is better than his injury last year,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I would be let's take Goff. We'll take Baker. We'll give you 2/3. That's better than, now you have your quarterback better than Brisket. And now you know what I mean? So if Watson's gone,
Brisket.
you got Goff there already.
Little two Scots Brisket.
I don't know how to say his name. I just figured I'd make a joke out of it. But
no, I'm happy you guys aren't Browns fans. Same for myself.
yeah, no,
Pretty easy with those
rough.
uniforms.
What'd you say?
It's pretty easy not to be a Browns uniform
Yeah.
fan. Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to be a turd. Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha. No, that was good. That was
Uniforms are terrible.
So for my flight segment that I want to talk about was I found this article on The Athletic. It was called Russell Wilson, Tyreek Hill, and the best offseason move for all 32 teams. So I wanted to ask you, and I have it on there, so don't look at it if you guys looking at the show sheet, which you probably already did and already know what it is. But
I don't.
what do you think would be the Detroit Lions' best offseason move so far this year?
Does this include draft?
It includes everything. Best offseason move.
I would say maybe re-signing defensive end.
Charles Harris.
I think that's really underrated. I think he can get after the quarterback. It set them up in the draft to go get Aiden Hutchinson and like get a difference maker. But before you go get a difference maker and put all this pressure on a young kid, you need to have a solidified lineup in place. And to me, that was super important.
I think that's a really good one. John, do you have one that stands out to you?
DJ Shark.
That's where I went.
DJ Shark, a big body, downfield threat playmaker for Jared Goff, who
Can't go downfield.
Yeah, I mean, he can't go downfield, and he needs weapons at all costs. So that's where I'm at.
I actually agree with you on that. That's the one I would have gone with. Personally, it was DJ.
Dang, Sam's agreeing with somebody on the show?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
God, what is
rare.
this?
No, but like I think that was a huge missing piece. Even before the draft, it was like we need to solidify the wide receiving core, right? That was a massive piece that we needed.
It goes in the same thought process as Charles Harris though too.
It
right?
really
they
does.
solidified their edge rushers to then go get a talented edge rusher and make it better.
Yeah,
and they solidified their wide receiver core, and then what do? And then they go draft a talented wide receiver to make them even better.
Yeah, Mike, would you say it was the Aiden Hutchinson pick? Is that what you were kind of going with?
No, I was actually going to go with your Jameson Williams pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trading up for them, being aggressive. That's actually what it was. So this writer, Chris Burke.
Nice, Micah.
This is what he said. He said, let's put it this way. If it turns out not to be trading up for Jameson Williams, that will be a massive disappointment for the organization and a setback for GM Brad Holmes. Taking Aiden Hutchinson also needs to pay off, of course, but the move for Williams was an aggressive shot with an eye on the long-term benefits. Detroit has every expectation that Williams will come back healthy and be a legitimate number one option, at least in terms of how he dictates coverage. It's a potential game changer for an offense that has lacked explosiveness. And that was Chris Burke from The Athletic.
Isn't that funny how anytime people bring up with Williams so far as being a number one wide receiver, they always throw in a little like explanation or caveat saying, in terms of how they have to cover him because he's such an explosive athlete, because he's not a prototypical number one body type.
Yeah. Who does he have a body type like? Like, who would you compare him to? Like, he's not a Julio Jones, I'm assuming, is what they're telling us?
Yeah, not at all.
So, what is he? Is he that unknown?
Maybe more like a Reggie Wayne, but more athletic. And, like, Reggie Wayne was a number one type, or number one wide receiver as far as production goes, but not body type.
Okay.
That would be one. Maybe wide receiver out in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Was with the Vikings.
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. Yeah, a little bit like that. Just skinny, fast, but just impacts the game in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was go back to the original, because I like derailed the conversation. But
no, I think that was what we wanted to talk about, really. It was just like, do you think that's the right choice? Do you, like, the way he worded it is, if it's not trading up, then it's a huge disappointment. Is that even fair to say? It seems a little unfair.
They moved up to get him because of the impact that we're hoping he has. So I think in his mind, if he didn't have the impact, then if he doesn't have the impact that we're hoping he has on the offense, that means that we traded assets to move up and didn't get the production.
Yeah.
I don't think the trade up.
I don't think we gave up a ton to be like a massive disappointment if he doesn't pay off this year.
Yeah.
If he doesn't become a number one, obviously that's a disappointment because you drafted him to be a number one, and if he's not, that sucks. But if he's a number two, it's not that big of a deal because you were that desperate for a wide receiver. Like,
if DJ Chark ends up being number
he
one,
could be the number one,
and Williams is like dictating the coverage being the number two, sign me up. I'm game.
Yeah. All right, John. You said you had yours. Now I'm gonna click the button here. That's on you, and then I'm gonna start adjusting the camera to try to get this thing dialed in.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I tried to mess around with some of the filters and the settings. Let's see what it looks like up on the big screen when you step away. But Kyle, we see that your comments are popping up on the big screen as well. Got everybody laughing in the corner.
Classic comments.
All right, well, I want to talk a little bit. I know we're going to talk about the Pistons and what happened in the draft. Whoa. Hey-yo. Hey-yo.
Down.
Hey-yo.
Right there. Right there.
That's better.
A little down, and then you're good.
Okay.
Too far.
Oh.
Too far.
Ryan,
Right there,
Perfect.
right there.
Leave it.
Leave it.
I'll listen to Ryan.
Leave it.
John, you can talk.
All right.
You messed up with something.
I know. I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, the NBA draft. All right. So college basketball is in like a weird place where people aren't trusting the process any longer. March Madness is the money grab. There's a lot going on. Arm movements. I'm getting distracted. Just trying to make sure this camera looks all right. I'm blurry up there. It's kind of what I look
No,
like.
you're good now. You're
It's
good.
kind of what I look like after I leave this podcast some nights. If we get too many of them strawberry lemonade shandies in us.
Yeah, when you have to Uber home.
Doing it live.
Okay, so my big takeaway from the NBA draft is that there were only 2 players from the G League drafted in the first round,
Okay.
and 2 foreign players drafted in the first round. Out of 30 picks, 4 players. So college basketball is putting good players into the NBA, where we thought maybe the G League might compete with what college basketball could provide. I think the NIL is going to kind of keep guys in school too and not sign that $500,000 contract guaranteed through the G League. We'll see what happens in years to come. That was my takeaway from the draft.
It's an interesting point. Both of the international prospects that were taken in the first round were both taller forward like guard types, though, like ball handlers at 6'10", which is interesting. So they're obviously looking for some type of impact from the European game to bring over here. I think there's probably some good reason for it. Maybe a little down year for prospects is coming from overseas.
Yeah.
But I think the third player taken out of all those international prospects was the guard that the Pistons took
Is that the one that they took and traded, or
from Bologna
that they actually got?
that we got.
Okay.
36 overall.
All right.
Which I think was part of a trade, right? We moved up from 36 from 46.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get into that later, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that. Are we good to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You got it.
What bumper we want to run?
Whatever one you want. This is your show.
You can surprise me.
If it's
Not this
craft
one.
beer
Nope, do a different one.
in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
We're getting right into it. The Pistons, the Detroit Pistons, made some noise.
Everyone's
It started,
talking
and
about
it
them.
started on Wednesday. And I kind of want to start with the Jeremy Grant trade to Portland. So Wednesday before the draft was Thursday, so it was the day before. The Trailblazers received Jeremy Grant, 46th pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and sent out a 2025 first-round pick from Milwaukee, 36th overall pick in 2022 NBA draft, 2025 second-round pick, and a 2026 second-round pick. In the moment, it felt very underwhelming in my opinion. I was like, all right, what in the world? Why? And it was probably my own fault. Everybody was talking, all right, where were we, 6th? We were 6th, right?
5th.
We were 5th overall, and then
Drafted
the other one
5.
was 7, right?
And
Portland was at
yes.
7. So like that was kind of what people were talking about, and it felt like that's what it needed to be in my opinion. It was like, all right, add another top 10 pick, a lottery pick. Like that's where my head was. And when this trade comes in, it was underwhelming, but it was also okay, this is the first step of something bigger. And I don't want to jump all the way to that right now, but what were you guys' initial thoughts when this trade went down? Was it just basically we knew it was just the first move, the first domino to fall? Is that fair?
Yeah. You had to know that, or you had to expect that because it happened the day before the draft. So that meant that he was trying to establish what he had to work with before going into the draft for a reason.
Okay.
It was either going to be a draft night trade, and if he felt like he wasn't going to get the type of return on draft night, or if it was too high stakes at that point, then he wanted to set himself up for the right one. And so this definitely felt like, yeah, the setup for something bigger.
When he did it the night before, that was another thing that pissed me off. I was like, it felt like the J.D. Martinez trade when he traded him 2.5 weeks before the deadline. It was like, what in the world for the return that he got too? It's like you could have got that trade 2.5 weeks later, but you could have gotten a much bigger.
Yeah.
piece as well. In my head, and I don't know the way the ins and outs work in basketball, in my head, go into the draft with that extra piece and put pressure on somebody to be like, come and get them. And you know what I mean? You can be like, they have to think quicker. You know what I mean? And put them on the spot and be like, Portland, you want them? All right, give us 7. You know what I mean? It felt like if you waited the day and put that pressure on them, they might have done it that way. Now, I don't want to get into what ended up happening yet, but that was my thought, was like, it felt like a missed opportunity. You want the assets on draft night, not the day before, in my opinion.
Well, not only that, but all the cap space. Like, they didn't bring a bad contract in return. And so most trades that you would do to when it's an obvious trade situation, the other team is going to try to relieve their cap space or send a bad contract over to make things as even as possible.
And that was the savvy part of the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. We had $42 to $46 million of open cap space following this deal, which is unheard of. It was more than double than any other team in the NBA.
With the potential to go up to 60 or something.
Yeah,
right?
It's insane what we got rid of, as far as you're saying, like the opportunity to sign other players. But my first reaction looking at this, I saw the Pistons signed Jeremy Grant. We signed him. We didn't give anything up to go get him. And this was one of the first deals that Troy Weaver did, as far as like big name free agents or trying to get somebody. He was completely trashed with Jeremy Grant after the signing for being a bad contract, for overpaying for a guy that was a role player. And then he comes on board and he establishes himself as a number 1. And after the second year, Pistons fans are mad because he's taking too many shots. It's like, man, you guys are short-sighted. He established himself as a number 1. We get a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and swapping 10 picks ahead of time in this year's second round for a guy that we signed to a good deal, like a team-friendly contract 2 years ago.
And the fact that it was still team-friendly is what made it possible to move on.
Exactly.
And Portland didn't have to dump.
So it was the long game. 2 years ago, it was the long game. It was his foresight of what Jeremy Grant could end up being, and then the return that he could get back. And again, first-round pick and 2 second rounds, and then also moving up in the second round this year. Like, that is, I don't know, just for signing a guy for $20 million a year.
Yeah, John, what were your initial thoughts when that trade went down?
Well, I think a few weeks ago, maybe months ago, we thought Jeremy Grant was worthy of a first round pick, like straight up, for this year's draft. So we were looking for takers. Portland seemed to be the popular one. They were looking to bring Jeremy Grant on board. What we found out is he wasn't a value for a top first round pick, especially a lottery pick at 7. I wasn't cool with getting a pick in 2025. I want something that we can build around Cade now, ASAP. Obviously, we saw that changed draft night, so luckily we were able to capitalize off that trade. And I think what Troy Weaver ended up doing with what we got is going to make a big splash with this team.
It was a little bit of the Thunder scenario where they're just collecting as many assets as they can get, and as they build their team, now in the future when they need their guy, the perfect fit that will complement the rest of their team, they have plenty of draft picks on the back end to be able to be like, yep, I can sweeten any deal you need. And so that was the theory of the Pistons coming back with more of that, collection of draft picks.
It's just rare in the NBA these days to see a lot of, like, I guess you could consider Jeremy Grant a veteran player in the NBA drafted or traded on draft night. These days, like, it just doesn't happen as much anymore. And like you said, usually when it is, it's somebody that you're dumping a contract on and you're paying a little bit of it and you're going to release the guy. So I don't know, at least we went into the draft with a little bit of ammunition in our pocket with that pick. But it would have been cool to, like you said, not see that trade happen the night before and then, like, kind of give your hopes up going into the draft.
Yeah, so let's move on to draft day, if that's cool. Mike, did you have looked like you were about to?
No.
Nope. So first round's going. Biggest surprise was Paulo Banchero. Is that Banchero? Banchero. I've heard both ways. Out of Duke, drafted first overall. Everybody was talking about Jabari Smith going 1, basically up until 2 hours before the draft, and then it started to really become obvious what was going to happen, right?
I mean, it was minutes before the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, minutes before that pick came in. I watched the draft live, but that's when Woj dropped that first bomb of the night.
Yeah.
Was that Orlando was looking at Paulo Banchero, even though they didn't work him out. That was the crazy story behind it, too.
I don't understand that.
I don't either.
That's so dumb.
So that makes you think that maybe it's intentional at that point, right? Let's not work this guy out. let's let everybody think we're taking somebody else.
Why?
And then throw out the board.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand the value in that unless they were trying to find a way to trade back. That's the only thought, I guess.
That's possible.
And if nobody's bought into it, they're like, no, you're not taking
If they thought
Jabari Smith.
If they thought Jabari Smith was the highest value and then they wanted to see if anybody would play that game and move up,
Yeah.
I could see that. And in the end, they really wanted Paolo anyways.
Yeah. They just
Yeah.
take who they wanted. Next was Chet Holmgren. I'm saying all these names wrong, and I know them.
I've
for
heard
the
it
most
both
part.
ways.
Holmstrom?
Yeah, Holmstrom, Chet Holmstrom.
He said it both ways.
Out of Gonzaga. He went to the Thunder at 2, and then Jabari Smith went 3 to the Rockets. Sorry, jump. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick before we get into the next, because that's kind of again where the draft quote unquote started. I really think that the Rockets would have been better off getting Paolo, and I think they really missed an opportunity. I know they got Jabari Smith, and he's super talented. I would have loved him on the Pistons too, but there's an element to that team that they need some stability, and Paolo is like the most stable prospect that could have been that point forward and control the ball and be a decision maker on that team that they really, really missed out on. I think the Rockets might be really disappointed with getting possibly the most talented player in the draft, which is a weird situation to be in.
Yeah, so then the Kings at 4 ended up going with Keegan Murray out of Iowa.
Another Woj bomb.
Another surprise, I think.
Another Woj bomb.
Yeah.
Because that was not expected whatsoever. Keegan
Everybody
Murray
thought it was Ivy.
Was not supposed to go to Sacramento.
But there were some like rumblings about that they were trying to do the same type of thing that we think Magic were doing at 1 was, no, we're going to take Ivy. We're going to take Ivy to try to get the Pistons to be like, all right, we'll trade up and actually get Ivy.
That's what we talked about last week.
Mess with all it was,
and
the
Knicks.
That a whole lot
and
in
the
NBA.
Knicks. The New York
Knicks
Knicks
as well?
wanted Jaden Ivey in the worst way. And they couldn't come up with a package to swap with Sacramento.
Yep, they were trying to trade up to 4. And that was the cat and mouse game that we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
The reports were, well, Ivy did not want to go to Sacramento, which I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to go there, but as the Kings organization, like you have to pick the best player available for your team and work it out, get a great relationship and build something. They wanted, it sounds like they wanted Keegan Murray, but we're playing that game talking about how much they love Jaden Ivey. And then the Pistons played it right back and said, oh, man, we're in love with Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
Like, this is the guy we really want.
Yep.
Knowing that if they were to trade back in the draft, who they really wanted to slip and fall to them, the Kings, would be Keegan Murray. So if they were to be able to trade back at number 6 or 7, get Keegan Murray, that would have been best case scenario for them, but they could not take that chance because they wouldn't get their guy.
Yeah.
So they had to pick him at 4, leaving the Pistons at 5.
For sure. So then there the Pistons sit. They got Jaden Ivey, Benedict Mathurin, Shaedon Sharp, Dyson Daniels on the board. It was one of those Aiden Hutchinson picks where you take that player,
you run
faster than the league wants you to.
You run for so many reasons.
And Jaden Ivey, the sophomore out of Purdue, 6'4", seems like a good running mate for what we were running with Cade. Perfect running mate.
What Kyle's got a comment on this. What did he say?
He said the Pistons got the best player in the draft.
You think that's true?
There's a lot of opinions that are very similar to that.
Yeah.
Where look, and we talked about this early on. The Pistons at number 5 got the first guard taken in the draft in a guard-heavy, dominant league.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of opportunity for him to be the best player in this draft.
So real quick, last week we did an exercise kind of pulling up the anonymous scout, right? And what people were saying. This is what that article said about Jaden Ivey, best athlete in the draft. He's an explosive like Russell Westbrook or John Wall. He's going to be able to get downhill at will. He was able to bail himself out of at the college game, although I'm not sure that works up here. He puts so much pressure on the defense with his speed. He's not a great shooter, but he's improved. People want to know if he can be a full-time point guard because he played a lot off the ball. The one concern would be the lack of ball skills. He's not a point guard, but man, he's so athletic. Those guys succeed. He'll be a better NBA player than a college player. Now, Cade is our true point guard, right? He will be the one playing on the ball, but I don't think that's necessarily fair either. I think Jaden Ivey can play on the ball, from what I've heard like on Sports Talk Radio. It just seems like a good fit. You got two really good players that will that are okay with not having the ball in their hands all the time. And I think that's really important when you're building a run, like your duo. You got to have two unselfish guys, and I feel like that's another thing that Jaden Ivey does a good job. He's not selfish.
And when a guy like this is writing a scouting report, it's a general scouting report for the whole league. So if you are a team that is looking for your floor general, no, you're right. He's not a Cade Cunningham. He's not the guy that you want to make every decision. Like Russell Westbrook was a really great running mate for Kevin Durant back in the day. But you didn't necessarily want him being your best player on the floor. You wanted Durant to make a lot of those decisions. So in this case, it's similar to Jaden Ivey. Cade Cunningham can make that decision, but also Killian Hayes he's known for, like, what he's best at is a playmaker. Somebody who doesn't necessarily want to shoot the ball, but loves setting up his teammates. So perfect running mate for not only Cade, but I would say the same thing for Killian.
Yeah.
It's only going to make both of their combinations better when they're on the floor.
John, right pick?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I jumped out of my seat. I was worried because Detroit let the clock run all the way down before that pick came in.
I thought I heard that they went quick. My bad.
No, it was live. It was dramatic. It's like, man, what are they doing? Don't tell me they're trading back. We got this opportunity. You cannot screw this up. His reaction, being drafted by the Pistons, tells you all you need to know about the guy. He's ready to come play. I think with Cade, each other's flaws are the other's, like, strengths on the floor, and that's going to mesh well in the backcourt. You need that. You saw it with Golden State this year. You need guard play. You need guys that can score, that can get to the bucket, and that can make shots. Cade's a great shooter. He's a great facilitator. Those are kind of some of the weaknesses for Ivy, but he can drive, and he can score from anywhere on the floor. And he's going to be the best athlete out there.
Best athlete in combination with being long and athletic. You got Cade Cunningham, 6'6", 6'7". Nobody really knows, but 6'7", point guard. Then Jaden Ivey, shooting guard at 6'4", 6'5". You got Killian Hayes, point guard off the bench, 6'5". Those are your small guys. And then you get into your forwards. Like Hamidou Diallo would be another guard type off the bench. I mean, if we hold on to him.
Yeah. Corey Joseph.
6'7".
Yep.
Yeah, Corey Joseph is at this point just a veteran.
I
right?
think, like, with Cade, too, he's probably not the quickest guy. He can't match up with the opposing team's quickest guard on defense. Jaden Ivey fills that void. He's faster. He's going to be more athletic than any guy you throw at him. And that's, I mean, every tip of the game. It's, I don't know. I was ecstatic. It's the only pick he could have taken right there.
I want to bring it back again, though, to last week. And what did we say? We said, this is Troy Weaver we're talking about, who has a reputation now, and he's been true to his reputation every step along the way. He gets high character people first. He drafts people, the person, and not the player. So he looks at the player second and says, would they be a great fit? Yeah, sure. Jaden Ivey is a great fit for all the reasons we're saying, but even more than that, he's willing to work. He knows what he wants. He's got a part of a professional sports heritage with his entire family.
Yeah.
He has just a perfect fit when he's defense first. You know, like his first interview, they were talking about what are you going to bring to the floor right away. He's like defense, on the ball defense, tenacity, competitiveness. Like those are the words that Troy Weaver just loves. Like any competitive athlete like that has also the athletic upside to go, you know, just, I don't know, sky's the limit.
So as the draft kind of panned out here, you got the Matherin going to the Pacers, Sharp going to the Blazers, Dyson Daniels to the Pelicans, Socon.
Good pick for them.
Socon to the Spurs.
Jeremy's, yeah.
Johnny Davis went 10 to the Wizards. I think as he was walking up to the stage, he actually stopped and went to Taco Bell, right? Isn't that what happened? Stupid
Johnny
commercial.
Davis?
Yeah, it was stupid.
Did he do that?
commercial. No, that's what the commercial was.
Oh, yeah, he was getting paid for that beforehand.
Yeah. And then
it's Jeremy Sohan, by the way, for Baylor.
Thank you. I'll learn it if I need to.
You won't need to.
No. All right, and then let's just move on to where the next thing happened at 13. The Detroit Pistons traded up. I guess it's not really trading up, but traded the rights and got all the... It's very confusing. But anyways, with the Charlotte Hornets or Bobcats? What are they now? They're the Hornets again.
Hornets.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right, they gave up a 2023 first-round pick from Denver via Oklahoma City and New York. Very confusing. A 2023 second-round pick via New York, a 2023 second-round pick via Utah, a 2023 second-round pick most favorable of the Dallas, Miami, and a 2024 second-round pick via New York Knicks. Detroit receives the 2022 draft rights to Jalen Duren, along with Kemba Walker from New York. Now, it sounds like they've already had an agreement to part ways and do the buyout thing, which is another feather in the cap of Weaver trying to, having that flexibility to take on that contract and get this type of deal done. And they ended up with Jalen Duren. Thoughts on Jalen Duren?
Can I just read it real quick?
You want to read what it says?
Well, it's kind of a perfect, just the
You
very,
actually really
just
like
the
this
very
one?
beginning. It just says man-child, freak of nature. That's the beginning of his description.
So that was
here.
also from the article that we pulled up last week, the miscellaneous
He's 18.
anonymous
He's the youngest
18.
youngest player in this draft. He's
18.
reclassified
as a high schooler.
as a high schooler to go to Memphis a year early, just like
And he is
Imani
a full-grown man.
Yeah.
he has the muscle mass of our other center on the
Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart.
Last time there was an 18-year-old that looked like that. It was Greg Oden, wasn't it?
So the
No.
dude,
No.
I just mean like old. Like he looks like he's
Yeah.
filled out.
Greg-
Oden,
Greg could never run up and down the court.
he was pulling up
He was
pools.
just jogging. Like
Greg-
he got
yeah.
lucky. He got
He was
lucky to
6
get back
years
on
older.
defense.
Greg
most of the
Oden already
times.
had a beer gut. Like it
Yeah.
was different. It was a different athleticism.
so there's nothing but upside to this guy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, straight up physical specimen. At the age of 18, he's still going to grow.
This is Troy Weaver doing what he did 2 years ago. He drafted Killian Hayes with the first pick in the first round. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, he's this guard. Well, we see what we got out of him. And then he snuck back in and got Sadiq Bey in the first round. And now we got Jalen Duren. Obviously different player. Whole different line of skill sets. But he's going to be our interior guy. He's going to be our lob dunker. He's going to be our rebounder. And he's gonna hustle. He's an athlete. He's an athlete, and he's a grown man out there.
So some of his lob dunks at Memphis, as a 17 and 18-year-old, basically playing in college basketball, were insane. Just the way he finishes around the rim. He doesn't even know himself yet. Like he's gonna continue to just develop and grow his skill set. But he's 6'11" with a 7'5" wingspan, and you would never
Holy
know it.
smokes.
That's like basically Chet Holmgren's wingspan.
But he's got 75 pounds on Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, he's 250 pounds already. He's 18 years old.
Holy smokes.
He also shut Chet Holmgren down in their NCAA tournament matchup, Memphis and Gonzaga.
Got blocked a couple times on his own too, but
Yeah.
that was a great like statement game. And believe me, Chet knows that. Chet will remember that, and this is going to be, in my opinion, they're going to be comparing themselves to each other here for the long term.
Especially because there's a connection between Detroit and OKC. That's where Troy Weaver came from. So, like, I don't know. They still draft the same way in OKC. Detroit's making the same kind of moves. I think OKC has, like, 12 picks in the first round in the next, like, 4 years.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And
And, they
that's-
can't even do that. Like,
and-
you can't do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that's literally
capital.
Yeah, so I mean, they do have a good thing going. I think they also had a really good draft this year. I don't know. I'm not a huge Chet Holmgren fan. I'm just glad he went there and he didn't fall to 5. But Jalen Duren is going to be the best pick of the night, I personally think, in the first round. For Detroit to sneak up in there, they're going to have to pay a little bit of money for Kemba Walker to leave. You're going to dump that contract, and you're still just going to have a young core for the next 4 or 5 years to come of solid basketball players.
So he's a long athlete. He actually takes long strides as he runs down the court. He's not Isaiah Stewart's got the short, choppy steps, and he's able to like move around on defense. Jalen Duren's going to have a growing curve here where he's going to have to learn how to shuffle his feet a little bit quicker. But again, he's 18 years old.
Are you concerned about his motor? That's one thing that was
No.
talked about.
No,
You
no,
think
no.
that's an overrated thing?
Overrated. Yeah.
Is that just a young learning curve type thing?
But, and coach driven thing. So I think Jalen Duren is one of those guys that has always been able to get away with everything and set guys up for the big block and some other things, some bad habits that you learn in AAU. And with Penny Hardaway at Memphis, I think you can get away with that a little bit more.
It's also glorified AAU.
Yeah, a little
It's
bit.
very unorganized.
Yeah, that's where
in Memphis.
that's where he came from. That same atmosphere. So Penny works more about like skills and trying to get better to develop you for the pro game rather than having an organized team that wins basketball games.
Did Jarrett actually have like something that contributes to the conversation there? I saw, or is he
Something
just
about
being smart?
peaking 1 year too early.
I don't know. He's giving us some Detroit Piston jokes. What do you call 12 millionaires sitting around the TV watching the NBA Finals?
Everybody except for
The Detroit Pistons
teams.
players. Yeah, I don't know. Is he an Orlando Magic fan? Right, he's down that way.
I can't keep up
or
with
does he
that.
just root for Golden State only?
I think
Probably
he's
Golden State.
Probably
yeah.
a Trailblazers fan.
Big
you know?
Draymond Green fan, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. He's talking about that Detroit peaked maybe 1 year too early. Next year has that kid who looks insane for the first pick. Kind of wish Pistons could maybe compete for that. Who knows? Maybe they will. So there must be somebody that
There's
is
a stud
already-
coming through this year?
Yeah, there's
I
a
guess so.
stud coming from Europe who's a big point forward and, like, I don't know, better prospect than Chet Holmgren is what people were saying. But you know what, though? Mark it down every single year. Once the draft is done, everybody's going to be talking about, oh, you should see the talent in next year's draft.
Yeah.
It hardly ever works out that way. They said that about Cade Cunningham's draft, too. Like, oh, this is maybe a little top-heavy but not very deep. And then, I don't know, you get guys like Scotty Barnes at number 4 who had an amazing year. And, you know, we know what Cade Cunningham did, and he was third in Rookie of the Year voting. Like, give me a break. They'll say that every single year.
What did Jarrett say? 7'1" or 2" or something? What was that?
Wembenyama.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen his clips, enjoy. Just insane. 7'1" or 2" is better than Chet and Young. Trey Young.
Trey Young.
Dimitri Young.
Dimitri. It's got to be Dimitri Young.
I remember Dimitri Young.
Delman.
I think
Better than Delman.
Remember
even.
when Delman Young was in left field and was just like,
Yeah, the
his
short,
little feet,
choppy steps.
just like took such random routes to that ball.
Oh, man.
It was so funny. to
Remember when
watch that.
Dimitri hit three bombs on opening day?
Oh yeah, I do remember that actually. What year was that? That was
Probably 2005,
was it?
6 maybe even.
Because he wasn't on 06, was he?
Yeah, I don't know, right around that time.
Yeah. No, I
This didn't
I
draft
liked
have
I liked both
this draft
those
didn't
guys.
have a clear number 1. Cade was so clear that it was nice to have a number 1. This one, next.
next year the number 1 seems legit number 1, so not every year. I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. No, I agree that Cade was the best. I would rather get number 1 overall last year than this year for sure.
Yeah, it also comes
Especially
down
when
to
you
team
can get
fit.
a guy like Jaden.
It also comes down to
top
team fit, so who knows?
So I think we really like it. Is this the perfect duo, or would you have been okay with taking Matherin at 5 and pairing him with somebody else that was available? When let's use that 13, like Ochi Agabe or whatever. Like he was a big name, right? Like
Abaji. Yeah.
Like
From-
would you guys have
from
rather
Kansas?
either of those guys, like the Matherin Abaji?
No.
type?
I think
Like
yeah.
it did land. I know everybody's saying like this is the perfect draft. They had just about a perfect draft. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those were the 2 names on highest up on his board.
Yeah.
Weaver's board going into the draft. I think that was broken news like following the first round.
Troy Weaver said he had 7 guys that he loved. Seven players in the draft that he loved. And near the top or at the top were the 2 guys that he got.
So sorry, go ahead.
Well, so what we see is upside, and not every, like Abaji is 22 years old. What's his name?
Matherin.
Matherin's like 20 years old or something.
Okay.
But some of these other guys might be a little bit older. That doesn't necessarily mean no upside when you're that age. But in this case, there is so much more upside to a guy like Jaden Ivey because of the athletic potential. And at this level of freak athleticism, we haven't seen many people fail. There haven't been many guys that move like him. And we're talking like Westbrook. We're talking John Wall. I don't even think is a good enough example because he's more athletic than John Wall.
Okay.
So
John Morant.
John Morant's the other one that everybody's talking
Derrick
about.
Rose. I mean,
Early Derrick Rose.
Yeah, you definitely don't want those knee issues that come with it. But I don't foresee him. I don't know. I just don't think he's that same type of player.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to just dunk every time he's going to the hoop. I think he's just trying to get to the hoop and get an easy bucket.
So the Pistons wrapped up the draft at 36, getting Gabriel Procida, forward out of Italy, via the Trailblazers trade that we already talked about.
I think it's Gabriel.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
What,
just kidding.
I've
Where-
heard it both ways.
it's Gabriel Procida.
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 What'd you guys think of this guy?
Sounds like a cheater.
He's a pro though.
He's a pro cheetah.
I think they said he was the best pure shooter in the draft.
So
not,
is that
not,
is
not best shooter right now, like numbers, like across the board.
yeah.
But he's has the best upside, best
He-
shooter in the draft.
He has if you watch his tape, you'll see right away. He has a beautiful shooting stroke. He looks like he just is going to hit every shot he takes. He's one of those guys.
Cool.
He's big. He's like 6'7", 6'8", and he's got a ton of athleticism. He dunks over people sometimes. So this is a guy that might stand in the corner for you and spread the floor, which, look, with the Pistons roster they have right now, that is absolutely another type of guy that you want to have. But he has even more potential than that because he's got playmaking ability, athleticism, and probably good enough defense to get by.
so Kyle Boone came out with his draft grades with Ivy, Duren, and Procida. He gave
Cheetah.
he gave the Detroit Pistons a grade A+. This is what he said. He said Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham are going to be playing basketball on the same court together. Oh, okay, thanks, buddy. Sorry. That sound you hear in NBA League past fans weeping with excitement.
That
Didn't-
sound you hear is NBA. Yeah, that was hard to read.
Yeah. Didn't expect Ivy to fall past 4, but Detroit rightly scooped him up. Wow. Why is this as hard as it is?
I'll read it. Didn't
All right,
expect
thanks, man.
Ivy to fall past number 4, but Detroit rightly scooped him up at 5, solidifying its backcourt for the future. Then grabbing a high flyer in Duren ensures this team will have a lob target to set up Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey for success. Procida is a stash candidate, but could pay dividends down the road. This team is going to be so much fun. Grade
A+.
A+.
I've never seen an A+ before.
That's
feels
A+ reading right there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had to make up for it.
I lowered the curve.
I got a 75.
Flat the curve.
All right, so perfect. So what's next? What's next for the Pistons? Do you want him to be aggressive? Do you go out and make a trade for somebody? Do you sit patiently and keep that cap space and wait for the next right piece? Like, what do you guys want to do? Because I feel like you could see it going multiple ways, but I don't know which way to go.
Can I start by saying I've been listening to as many Troy Weaver interviews as I can get, and
is that what you listen
Casey.
to put you to sleep or no?
Yeah, basically.
He's
I
got
can't
one of
get
the-
through him.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I
it
know.
is
He's the
such
most
a rough listen.
He's the most boring guy to listen to, but I feel like he gives little nuggets here and there.
Yeah.
Him and Dwayne Casey both bring up Isaiah Stewart and Sadiq Bey every time they talk about the team's future
Yeah.
and leadership on the team. And so I think I know that you'll see some of these projected starting lineups and Jalen Duren's in there at center. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham didn't start right away. Like, not right away.
Well, he was injured, but
Yeah, but his first
but
game
even
in, he
didn't
came off the bench.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, why do we think Jalen Duren is going to start game 1 when we have a guy like Isaiah Stewart who is already looked at as, like, his energy and toughness is kind of what's defining part of this team, along with Sadiq Bey and Cade Cunningham and Killian and all those guys that are try hard on defense. He's going to be the starting center, and I just think that's a little nugget because as this team moves forward, I think those guys that he drafted in his first draft are part of the long-term plans for this team.
All right.
I don't know where I was going with that.
So what do we want to do next?
Oh, that's the reason why.
Free agency, I think that's what you were talking about, right, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, is there a free agent that you guys want? I've heard.
prior to the draft, DeAndre Ayton's name was being popped up in a lot of conversations in Detroit.
It seems to be quiet now.
Quiet way down because
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna overpay for the guy no matter how you look at it. He's
Yeah.
a center. You can't be passing out that kind of money
Max
to a center.
deal.
Yeah.
Now you got Duren, you got Isaiah Stewart, and you got Marvin Bagley, and you got 3 bigs that you can rotate. Not all 3 need to be playing by themselves. You can match up 2 with 2.
We got Kelly Olynyk to hit some threes off the bench too. Like,
Yeah,
the team at the big man spot is doing just fine right now.
Yeah, and I mean now Detroit's got some depth. Depending on what kind of guard packages you want to run out there, it's going to be interesting. I think those guys are going to interswap at the center based off of who they're playing. If you want to run a little bit smaller lineup, I think Isaiah Stewart's a little bit shorter than Duren maybe.
Yeah, Isaiah Stewart's like 6'8", 6'9", even.
And yeah, I don't really care for Duren to start the season on the floor. I'd rather see him on the bench, honestly. I think Marvin Bagley has enough skill set out there that can buy him a little bit of time. But free agent-wise, I mean, the only other thing they're maybe missing is another, I don't know.
Shooter.
Yeah, a scorer, forward maybe.
The forward seems to be the spot.
I've heard Miles Bridges' name pop
Yeah,
up.
what do you
quite a
think
few
about
times.
that one? Like, it almost seems like this. It seems like a weaker free agency class. It's like you don't want to go give a guy max money right now because you're about to. Hopefully, you have guys that you got to give max money to on your team already here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, you gotta save a little coin for that. You have to plan on that happening because you can't hold on to this nucleus and not fork over some money in 3 to 4 years to lock these guys up long term.
Yeah. And is Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, are they going to be okay waiting 4 years if you go sign like a DeAndre Ayton to start for 4 years? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to go over well with them.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it's more forward related. Some of the talks, and this was hinted a little bit from the Pistons organization, is that they might target veteran leadership type of guys, one-off contracts, and not go make a big splash with one of the top free agents. And I think that's a good approach because you don't fully know what you have with your team right now. It's such a young core, you're not quite sure. So maybe let them develop, let them answer that question long term. So in 1 to 2 years, when you have still a ton of money to spend on free agency, you will get the right guy. And you're not trying to guess right now how your team is going to look and fit together. We haven't seen Cade and Jaden play together.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what the weaknesses are on this team and fill that hole when it's needed.
And it's all exciting right now. It feels really exciting that we can maybe take a nice step forward, blah, blah, blah. Let's just be patient. Because as soon as we wrap up that cap space, use that cap space, we're not as flexible as we have been. You need to be able to use that cap space to make trades. Either that or you're giving up a bad contract, right, to make these big trades. So you got to have one or the other. We don't have a ton of big contracts anymore, at least guys that we want to move on from or are going to want to move on from anytime soon. So keep that cap space, keep your flexibility. Look, if they go get Miles Bridges, it'd be really exciting. It would pump the excitement. It really would.
It would.
But it just doesn't seem like the right time. It seems like just keep the flexibility, keep the cap space, and move on with what you got. You got these young guys. Let them go do it.
We haven't said his name. We said his name last week, Isaiah Livers.
Isaiah Livers.
I think he's going to fill a lot of holes for this team. I think people will be surprised how often he plays.
I think people were surprised how much he played last year.
Down the stretch.
Yeah, and he played well. He was a big piece for some of those wins that we didn't want to get.
He's a team first guy who can play defense and hit threes. So that fits in a lot of different lineup scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, they're deep right now. So anything you add is a bonus. And like you said, it's going to cut into somebody else's minutes and maybe jumpers, shots taken in a game. So it's got to be the right move. I with you, Sam. Let's see the summer league play out. Let's see how guys mesh on the floor before we start handing out that coin.
I think this time last week we would probably say, yeah, let's go get a guy. Let's go get a guy.
Yeah, I mean, Ayton, it's so appealing, But we weren't drafting size with that 5th pick. Like, there's no way we were going to draft a center or anybody, even a legitimate big down low. And to steal Duren, I mean, like you said, it's a good waiting game. Good time to sit back and see what happens.
That was the quietest drop.
Dude, a real drop. Though those aren't really drops. The real drops are on top.
Can you imagine Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham all on the court at the same time?
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Sorry, Sam.
It's on.
You cut me off there. I'm going to continue my thought.
Micah's mic is on for the record. We did not cut him off. He's just saving up for what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, absolutely. Pistons isn't my talk. I'm not going to step into the wrong ring here. I'm listening.
Me and Ryan will just
you guys, we didn't leave.
We'll add an hour onto the podcast at the end.
Really. So, all right, Red Wings, we want to talk a little bit about them. The NHL Finals are done. Congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche for winning. They're a fun team to watch. I really liked them. I like the team.
Very good.
Moved on from the jersey. I don't hate the Avalanche. I hate Toronto. I hate Chicago. Those are the teams that I hate. I hate Pittsburgh right now.
You hate Toronto?
I do.
They're my second favorite team.
Hold on. I hate. Yes, like like they're like one of my teams that I'm gonna sit and watch a game. I'm gonna hate on them when I'm watching the Red Wings. I really like Toronto. I like the team that they have right now. Just the
Matthews.
I love Matthews. I love Matthews. I love.
He's so
I
sick.
can't think of their other players right now. But
So good.
I like John Tavares.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't really succeeded there, but I really like him too. But yeah,
So hold on.
but I hate Chicago. I will always hate Chicago. That is probably my least favorite team
Why do you hate Pittsburgh right now?
because they literally made the worst day of my life almost
Oh,
in
okay.
sports world. Second worst day
That's-
in my sports world life.
It's legit.
No, it's probably my number one worst sports day
Well, yeah. You had a different hope.
because I was at the game.
Yeah.
It really sucked. What were we talking about?
Something about Red Wings.
Red Wings. Let's go.
Oh.
All right. So I do want to talk a little bit about the documentary that came out yesterday. 1 o'clock, ESPN in perfect fashion. 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Let's air something that people want to watch. Well,
Awful
do-
timing.
all right.
Awful.
terrible idea. It's stupid time to do it. But we could re-stream it or whatever, or stream it. We want to call
Perfect.
when we decide to watch it, which was good. What'd you think of the documentary? Unrivaled. E60, not a 30 for 30. It was an E60 for the record. Got to make sure we get that out of the way.
First of all, I got the blood pumping again. 'Cause I remember quite a few things like it was yesterday, and then there were quite a few things I didn't remember, and then quite a few things I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone that watched it was just waiting for the moment when Darren McCarty just grabbed Claude and everything ensued. I like you were just going, okay, is it going to be like in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Like what are we expecting? And they actually did a really, really good job building the story from when it started a year prior.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know, go watch what happened. For a lot of you young kids or younger generation, you've probably never even heard of it or saw it.
Yeah.
So go watch it.
It was. They did such a great job, and I think ESPN does a really good job with their documentaries. Usually it's the 30 for 30s. This I guess was the E60. I don't know the difference, but we'll just save that for another day. But what I really liked about it was, I thought for the most part there were some things that I was disappointed with. We'll get into that here in a minute. But what I liked was I thought they did a great job telling the story from the beginning. Like you said, it was not just all of a sudden these guys hated each other. It was
Right.
a work in progress. And I, starting off with the whole thing, like when they said Claude Lemieux won the Conn Smythe Trophy in '95 against the Red Wings when he was on New Jersey, I was like,
Yeah.
didn't know that. No idea. But I would hate that guy too if I was a Red Wing so that day.
I didn't know he had been a pest and in the league for that long.
Yeah.
I had not a clue.
Well, he won a cup with Montreal,
Yeah, I
and then he
didn't
won a
know
cup
that.
with New Jersey, and then I think 2 cups with Colorado. Maybe 1 with Colorado. Doesn't matter. But, like, yeah, and then all of a sudden he was the most hated guy in hockey for a long time. And then he did what he did to Draper and kind of got stuff going.
Well, I was just going to say until what, Todd Bertuzzi, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Todd Bertuzzi kind of took that from him. Well, I guess not Al McKinnon. Who was the Donald Brashear, McSorley? He was up there too.
Oh,
He was the
yeah.
one that hit Donald Brashear in the head.
That was dirty.
That was dirty. That was very dirty. McSorley was known for being a dirtbag too. But
Kyle mentioned the Shanahan meeting Wah at like game speed.
That
that was
quite
so
the collision.
The
that collision,
breakdown.
in the pictures that this they talked to the photographer during the documentary, and like he's literally in the middle of all of it. He had such cool shots. That picture of McCarty, everybody knows it. McCarty with Lemieux turtling. You got Vernon in the back skating. You got Shanahan, which it was cool because
and
like
Foot right behind him.
yeah, because this is another thing that I learned
Yep.
was Foot and Shanahan were like squaring with each other. Like they were just holding each other back, letting everything happen. But then Shanahan saw behind him somehow that Wah was coming to help Lemieux, and Shanahan pushes him off and turns and starts going at Wah full speed. They like jump in there. It's one of the coolest things, and that brawl just in general. But sorry, go ahead. What are you gonna ask something?
We're jumping way too far ahead, I think, too quick, but I didn't realize how many fights went on for the rest of the game after that.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
That was like one of the starting. Like there were a couple little brawls, then
Yeah.
there was the big one,
Yep.
and then it was just one after another.
They fast forwarded and showed every single clip of the fights for the rest of that game.
It was absolutely insane.
It was brutal.
Yeah. Shanahan, and Foot went. I think McCarty got in another fight.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty
did.
sure he did.
Yeah.
He actually that was his only 5-minute major of the game.
Because he didn't get one for the
first
one?
initial fights. He didn't get a 5-minute major. He got like a 4-minute some like technical penalty or something like that. I don't even know.
He literally kneed him in the head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was
Yep.
kneeing him as
Yep.
his head's next
There's
to the.
blood on the Comerica sign for where the bench was. It was absolutely insane what happened, and the fact that we all know that. All right, McCarty went on to score.
The game
And
winner.
we don't
in
need to tell
overtime.
people the story that we all just witnessed and saw when we were kids. But like, well, another thing that I thought was interesting was the fact that the Avs thought we started it, and they kind of did.
That.
What
Yes.
what Kozlov did was dirty. So for the people that miss it, but like, Kozlov took Adam Foote's head and smashed it. Like, so they were like kind of skating, and he just kind of like turned and grabbed it and threw his head against the boards, and he had like 40 stitches in his head that earlier in the game before or it might have been earlier in the
I thought it was
season
like
series or
8
something.
to 10 stitches or something.
No, it was 20. I thought they
no,
said.
the guy said if
if
it's
it was
more than 10.
if it's more than 10, or if it's
And-
less than 10, it's a shaving
It's a
or shaving cut. If it's more than 10,
But he said it was 20. He said he got 20, right?
yeah,
20
that's
on
what
his
Foot
forehead.
said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just that was interesting. And then another thing I learned was the reason Mark Crawford exploded. Remember that? I mean, the infamous
Yep.
yelling at the bench, and again, great shots from that photographer. But like the clip of it is absolutely insane, and I got to hear the unedited version of what he's saying because
Pretty.
it is literally, I bet you, probably 20 swear words in a 45-second clip, and that's probably underestimated.
The clip where he's asking if
Are you going to apologize
are
for
you
that
going to
one?
apologize?
Yeah,
Right,
which
right.
I thought was interesting. Like, we all knew like what Lemieux did to Draper, but the fact that he never apologized or even reached out or anything, that's what was pissing the Red Wings off for so long. It's like that's what it was. It was just he had so many opportunities and he never apologized. He never said anything. He just defended himself. And he was kind of an
Yep.
a-hole about it.
Yep.
Let's be honest.
Didn't he say something like he would never, like I made his career, like nobody would have known his name if it wasn't for me or something like that?
Is that what did he say that
Yeah, I
during they didn't play that during the documentary. At
That
least
might
that
be
I heard.
extra.
That might be an extra, yeah. I'll have to-
That's what I heard, and I think it happened before the E60.
oh, really?
Yeah, I think that was a quote. Like nobody would have even known this guy's name. Like I made him basically.
Jeez. Well,
That-
Draper's been an incredible hockey player.
That was one of the things I was interested to find out too, was Claude Lemieux still to this day has not apologized. He's not reached out to Draper
Yeah.
in any fashion,
And Draper's definitely
just to say
bitter.
sorry.
Definitely bitter.
Oh,
You gotta
Hardcore
Gotta like they literally end it with like, would you ever like, do you care to know him or anything like that? And he's like,
well,
I don't have time.
Who's that?
Like they asked Draper,
Draper?
like if they
Oh,
would
okay.
first of all if he'd ever forgive him, and if
Right.
he ever wants to get to know him, and he goes, I don't have time for that. Basically, but the way he said it was so they did a good job of that. I don't know, it was good.
And the other thing I didn't know is how actually badly injured Draper got from that hit.
Oh, yeah.
That we thought started it all.
Yeah.
I had
list.
no idea. This man's face, it was so blown up on the right side.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, it looked like a balloon.
He basically he broke his bone from here down to like the top of his teeth, but then it's
orbital bone.
orbital
right?
bone. Well, he actually said a different bone that I thought it was gonna be orbital.
There
Or-
was a
sorry.
couple different bones.
Yeah, but
Like
then
this-
so it was like indented where it was, but then it was so swollen it didn't look like it was indented at all. It was just crazy.
So they show the trainer. There's
Red Wings
this there's this camera view that they show him. They show the trainer look down at Draper. He sees in like a 4-inch indentation in his face, and he looks up at the crowd like he saw a ghost.
He's just basically like this. He's like,
That's how bad it was.
So I
taking back
actually
into it.
I actually listened to an interview with him today. He was on Woodward.
Oh,
and-
was he? Okay.
Yeah, and so he was talking to the guys, and it was interesting because he was telling stories that was, I guess, not in like that
The
ESPN
docu-
cut.
Yeah.
And he said that one of the things was that like he prided himself on not letting the moment get too big on whatever injury happened.
Yeah.
This one, like, he had to like take a deep breath and like look up and just like, okay, get it together. Don't let anybody know how bad this is. But he had to collect himself because he was so shocked by what he saw.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the other one was the fight, I guess, that he like started between the benches.
Oh, he started that
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Oh, really?
It wasn't at the coach. It was at him,
Oh, man.
which was funny.
Well, he's definitely in the clip. I knew that. And it's just funny to see trainers getting involved.
I guess the other coach was just something like, control your nurse. And he's like, but they didn't know how much I respect nurses, so that's not a slight.
That's good. Was there anything that was left out? Because for me, like, it was all about, obviously, it was the 96 to 98, basically, or I should say 95 to 98. So much happened after that. That rivalry, that was, what, 4 years of... Oh, it went till 2002.
They beat him in
Right.
2002, Wings did, but didn't that...
But
the
Colorado won in
Avalanche
01, I
won
think.
in 01.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like that could have kept going. Yeah, end it on what you did. That was fine, winning it in 98, the Konstantinov, all that good stuff. That's not a bad way to end it, but it didn't tell the whole story. Maybe there's going to be a part 2. I don't know. But, man, it just feels like it could have kept going. But 2 hours, like, that's us as Red Wings fans. I bet you nobody else really wants the next 6 years of it. Like,
So the whole thing felt one-sided, didn't it?
I thought it was very
Right.
Red Wings heavy.
Okay. So at the end, I felt justified in my anger being relit, you know? So where was kind of like the Avalanche side of things? They took some pretty one-sided, cocky comments from in the moment back in 97 and 96. But then nowadays, like, it was very Red Wings heavy from that moment.
Mm.
The justification of
Like everybody.
the whole Draper incident, and then from there on out, it was Detroit everything, which I didn't mind, but I still want to hear the other side.
Yeah, like one thing they'd never even talked about was, all right, so we hated Lemieux because of what he did. I guarantee you that Avalanche fans hated McCarty as much as we hated Lemieux. But that wasn't talked about at all. McCarty, what he did was really freaking dirty. Yeah, it was payback, but you can't justify what he did either.
Right.
It was that bad. And, I mean, yeah, he had good fights, and they did it right move after that. But, man, if we were on the Colorado side, I would want that to be talked about. Like, what about what he just did? What Lemieux did is more of a
Throwing knee
hockey.
to his head.
What Lemieux did is more hockey than what McCarty did. And that's where it's like, I would be...
But it was payback.
Yeah.
And it led to the back-to-back, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean...
And the team coming together and being
Yeah.
in one unit and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So that was actually going to be my question is like how, because I didn't watch it again. I've just watched some of the interviews coming out of it.
Yeah.
How was some of the Avalanche perspective from the players? Did you get a lot of that?
You know, I think most of the Avalanche talk was in the moment stuff. So you had, like, Mike Keane, like, talking out of his butt, but that was, like, a post-game interview. Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, they had Lemieux. They had Adam Foote said a little bit more talking about, like, his injury. And
Adam Foote was cooler than what I
yep,
imagined.
I agree with that. They had Patrick Waugh say a little bit, Sakic said a little bit, but it was not. That's where I think that they should have dug more into it. They should have had more of the players on it and talking about how they felt rather than explaining what was going on, if that makes sense.
So
They didn't really revisit the Colorado players' feelings as much as I thought they should have.
So it almost maybe was like a storytelling event or in documentary rather than like getting into the details of all the players and like the backstory of it or like the true story.
Yeah.
Maybe just like
it felt
telling.
it felt like the Disney version of, all right, it started this way, and then look at how they came together and they did it, and they stuck as one. Where there's Red Wings, it felt like they made the Red Wings look out to be the good guy and the Avs look out to be the bad guy. And I don't think that that's a fair way to look at it. I really don't. And I'm a big Red Wings fan, obviously. But like, I don't think Colorado was the bad guy. I think in a lot of ways the Red Wings were the bad guy because of what McCarty did. Like, I don't know. I think that goes way on overlooked.
I think if you look at it differently, though, the way you said, you know, they tried to make the Red Wings look like the good guys, and the Avalanche look like the bad guys.
Yeah.
I think it was reversed if you look at it differently, because what happened is you had Claude Lemieux, having regrets about what he did not in the moment, but what he did to Draper in this interview for this special. And then you also had Patrick Waugh saying, Mike Vernon didn't really deserve that from me. And so you've got a couple of apologetic guys coming from the bad guys' side, and then you've got all the guys we love here in Detroit not apologizing for one thing.
Yeah,
didn't apologize for one thing.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm saying is it's how you view it.
Yeah,
right?
I thought they made the Red Wings look better than they were in that scenario. Personally, I think they could have made the Red Wings look just as bad as the Avs. And maybe I'm looking at it as a perception too. Like, I don't know, but I was like,
you might be swinging too far the other way.
You think so?
But yeah, because again, it was revenge. It was like they thought it was so bad and so impactful, and it was at the last game of the season, right, where they ended their season in the conference playoffs.
But you also need to look at what Kozlov did. Did you see what Kozlov did?
Yeah, I did. But
and that was before the hit on.
Yeah, but
that Lemieux did on Draper. And that's where it's like, no, like the hit by Lemieux, yeah, dirty as crap. Well, the sucker punch that he did on Kozlov was really dirty as well. But the Red Wings weren't standing up either. It was the Red Wings did this, Kozlov did this, nobody was answering the bell for that. And that would be driving people nuts. That's going against the code of hockey in that world. Nobody stood up for it. Nobody paid the price. Nobody dropped the gloves because of what Kozlov did. So it's going to keep boiling over. It's going to be bad, It's never a good thing to go. John, what's going on, man?
Public opinion says it was all fair.
Yeah.
Everything that happened in the Avalanche, they had it coming.
Yeah, and then Kyle says I swing both ways.
I guess so. Did you talk about throwing right? Did you talk about throwing rights and lefts?
I talked to Ryan. Said I'm swinging too far the other way.
Oh,
with my
no. I think only because you might think it's more of a hockey move. I just watched it. It's really not that bad. What Kozlov did, but
I disagree.
But with Claude Lemieux, at least apologize. At least be human about it, and that's probably maybe just as much where the anger's coming from.
Yeah,
from that side. So then, guess what? They all knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And who else knew? The Avs knew it was coming too.
Yeah.
You don't just get goalies fighting each other like that and all on 5-on-5, like brutal what would happen on the ice if both sides didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Now, if a piece of the board broke and Adam Foote got poked in the eye and was blind and never able to play hockey again, that's one thing. But what Chris Draper went through was, a career-threatening injury, and he's lucky to have come back and played, and stepped on the ice again. So
broke his jaw in 4 places, broke his orbital bone. That's what I guess. I think maybe that and more. Like they wired his jaw shut.
Yeah, they had to wire his jaw shut because it was broken. But another missed opportunity that I was disappointed about was not getting like the Dino Ciccarelli, Paul, guys that were on the team in '96 that were moved on for in '97. They didn't get anything. I wanted I wanted to hear Dino Ciccarelli because obviously everybody knows that he's I can't believe I just shook that blank's hand or something like that guy's hand or whatever it was in the circle. He was pretty outspoken about that, or sorry, line, not circle. But then what about Dino? Is he pissed that he didn't get part of that? What did the rest of the league think of this as this rivalry was going on? Was it must watch for the Wayne Gretzky's of the world, the people that were in the league trying to compete with these maniacs? Basically, the best 2 teams in the league are doing this to each other. What did everybody else think? And nobody talked about it. I have no idea. And I feel like that was another missed opportunity. Tell me what everybody else is saying about this.
That would be cool.
What does Mario Lemieux think? What does Wayne Gretzky think? What does Brett Hull think? What is
right?
All these other guys that are in the league.
Dino Ciccarelli was in the league at that point still?
Dino Ciccarelli was in the league, so the Red Wings traded him.
Yeah.
Or maybe he walked. I don't remember if he walked, but yeah.
He was my favorite player growing up.
Oh, no. So 96, he was on the team in 96 when the hit happened, but he wasn't on the team in 97.
Did we?
Yeah, it was part of the Shanahan deal. I think it was the Shanahan deal for the Whalers.
Sounds right.
Then Paul Coffey was gone too. Yeah,
Paul Coffey.
big
I've
names.
never
Two
forgot
Hall of
Whoa.
Famers right there.
Yeah.
I love Paul Coffey.
I had a Paul Coffey poster in my room when I was a kid. And
You
like,
do?
then the years you remember watching the Red Wings, it's like I never even remember watching that guy play for
Yeah,
the Red
I had
Wings.
a
Like,
Dino
why did-
Cicerelli, and like I just knew him from the video game, but not.
Yeah,
I had a
watch
Paul
it.
Coffey clock. I think I still have it.
because he played for was it like the
I totally remember
Philly,
that.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Flyers?
Yeah, so the Red Wings traded him. Then I think Whalers traded him to Philly, probably at the deadline or something like that. And then we beat him in the Stanley Cup Finals in
Yeah.
'97. Yeah, kinda funny.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, pretty funny. I think we actually beat him in the finals again. Was he in '02 maybe? I don't know. With Carolina, doesn't matter. We didn't play Carolina. Yeah, we did play Carolina. Sorry, I'm going through my own head. Sorry. Moving on.
Who was 98? Flyers?
Washington.
Washington. Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're super ugly jerseys.
Who was the best player on the Flyers in 97?
John LeClaire and Eric Lindros.
Oh,
Legion
yeah.
of Doom.
Got it.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yep. And then the coach for Carolina right now,
Brindamore?
Brindamore, he was on their team too. It was a really good line.
Rod.
Rod Brindamore. I hated Rod Brindamore back then. I like him now. But speaking of Rod Brindamore and coaches, the season's over. Red Wings need to get this ball rolling.
Time to talk. Time to get a coach.
Time to get this thing moving. Try to figure out what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
And
baby.
I don't want to go too deep into it right now. If you guys are all right with it, let's cut this part a little bit short.
You hear that, Kyle? He doesn't
do
want
it.
to go too deep into it.
Yeah,
Just the tip.
the swing both ways joke again coming. But NHL draft is Thursday, July 7th. Free agency starts the 13th, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next couple days here. What's going to happen with the Red Wings search for the coach, John Button?
Oh, you wanted to end it. You
Yeah.
really didn't want to get too deep.
No, I'm done.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
This is our Betting Hero segment. We're going to make this nice and quick. BettingHero.com, promo code MIBETS, what you're going to get. Paul Coffey was the first hockey name I knew. Was that my mom or my dad, maybe? Probably my mom. Maybe my
Yeah.
dad. Honestly, my dad would have known other hockey players back then. But yeah, Paul Coffey was definitely one of my favorites. But BettingHero.com, promo code MIBETS, if you're interested in gambling on sports, which I like to do a little bit. Go to that website, and what they'll do, you say you're in Michigan, you sign up, you deposit money, all the promos are available. Basically, just go to it and figure it out. We're done trying to sell you guys on this. If you haven't done it already, you won't, right?
Correct.
So
Where are the Red Wings drafting this year? What position? Draft slot?
7 or 8, maybe.
Mm,
I think it's 8.
I think it's 7.
Google. But anyways, one thing that I'm really
So
enjoying.
weird. I thought it was 6.
It's a FanDuel thing. They have Dinger Tuesdays, where you opt in to their Dinger Tuesday. You put $25, or you can put less on a player to homer, which is always fun. You get $5 for every home run that's hit in that game, win
Dinker
or
and
lose.
Dong in the same episode for Sam.
Yeah. Good thing we have nobody that records and then just pulls up all these drops because they're
Yeah.
I should do that. I really should. But anyways, last week I said I'm going to go with Austin Riley for the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta is only the 14th home run friendly ballpark this year, but both the Giants and the Braves are top 10 in homers. Anyways,
How would
there
it
was
work out?
5 home runs in that game, maybe 6 actually. But Austin Riley didn't get it. But since you have this promo that I'm trying to sell everybody on, you opt in 5. What is it, 9 or 8? Let's go. Where was I? Oh yeah, you opt in. In every home run that's hit in the game, you get $5 back in free bets. So basically, I put $25 on Austin Riley to hit it. Really good odds. Didn't get it, but I got my money back. It was a free bet
Yeah, that's
for
awesome.
the opportunity to do it. So this week, my Dinger Tuesday, I'm gonna go with Trey Turner for the LA Dodgers, who play in Colorado. Turner has 10 homers, but being in Colorado, we all know how the ball flies out of there. It's all about the protection. What? It's all about the protection once again. Oh, yeah. Picking a guy Somewhat is a crapshoot every time. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Why are you reading this part?
I don't know.
Do you want me to read it for you?
don't need to read it.
No. Let me just talk.
Yeah, just talk
I know
about
what I'm doing. I just decided to read for some reason. Anyways, I'm going to go with Trey Turner because I want to pick somebody in that game, Dodgers, Colorado, because I feel like that's the game that's going to have a lot of home runs. Yeah, Kershaw's going, but I think Dodgers could probably get 5 on their own. Like that's always my goal. Like how many are you going to get? How many are you going to get back? And I'm just going to go with Trey Turner. So I'm assuming he's going to be around plus 310. So if you put $25 on that, you win about 77, but then $5 for every home run that's hit in the game. So you could win a decent amount of money. Not bad, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what the odds are. That was today's odds, so I feel like it's just a good way to go. But I would also be willing to move over and go with Aaron Judge, who is playing against the A's. Frankie Montas, he starts. He's already given up 9 home runs, and then you're in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That seems a little better. So Ryan, you make the decision here.
Oh, I would for sure go Aaron Judge here.
Aaron Judge.
I mean, he has like 28, so yeah.
So that's gonna be like it's probably gonna be like plus 280 or something like that.
Yeah,
but
easy bet.
But you think that game has a better chance to have
with
the home runs
with the Yankees
especially the
lineup
A's
in general? Too. Yeah.
All right, we're going with Judge.
Drop.
It's gonna get into our beer grade of the day. What are we drinking, guys? We're
Saugatuck
drinking.
Brewing.
Yes.
Strawberry lemonade shandy. There's really nothing else that needs to be said about it besides its delicious taste, clearly what it's made of. And Saugatuck, they're southwest Michigan. Great little area, great little town. They got a lot of bars and restaurants, including Saugatuck Brewing. Great beer, great food, great service, great people.
Wow, that was well done. Sounds like you want to get out of here. Is that what you're doing? You just want to keep this thing moving?
Yeah, I'd like to go to sleep.
Not so bad.
How are we doing on time, John?
I just opened one more. We got plenty of time to keep
145.
sipping.
This is supposed to be a fast episode.
Keep sipping.
They're like, can we talk a little more Pistons or no? That's what Ryan.
I mean,
John
if you're game, I'm game.
No, but what do you guys think of this beer?
It was a nice take on a shandy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You like that strawberry in there?
Yeah, I do.
Doesn't make it too sweet.
Not too sweet. I could only maybe down 2 of these.
Yeah.
I mean,
The strawberry does sweeten it up, I would say.
does sweeten it up. It might give me a little gut rot, but I think I get gut rot a little easier than a lot of people. So
Gross.
Yeah.
well,
It's a
I
little
mean,
too
with
much
the
information.
sweet beers. Oh, that was an awkward comment,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
God, that's terrible.
You should probably get that looked at.
Jeez,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll stand
No kidding.
upwind from you tomorrow. I mean, like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah. So we're not hanging out tomorrow.
This is not happening.
No, I think it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was too sweet either. Like
No.
with a shandy, you're kind of going in knowing that there's going to be some sweetness to it.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a good job. It was decently mild. I could have more than 2.
Cool. Let's get some grades out here. You guys ready for some grades?
Yeah, 7-7.
7-7.
Are you kidding?
Mike a
That's
7-7 as
exactly
well.
what I had.
John, what'd you think?
Let me get one more sip. Sam, you throw your grade first.
I'm gonna go with a 7-2. It was a little too sweet for me. Okay.
Yeah, probably like a 7.3, 7.4. Or a 7.4. We'll round up.
7-4.
Yeah.
Well,
Would you rather have a normal?
I think I
shandy?
would. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I would rather have a. I mean, it wasn't bad. The strawberry's not bad. I don't know. I think shandies are good how they are.
It was closer to like
It's
cider.
not needed.
I felt
Yeah,
like.
it's actually good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 5%, so you're not
It doesn't
getting
taste like a
alcohol.
shandy, does it?
No.
No.
It's a little smoother.
I feel like I could get away with having a couple of these with breakfast. You know?
Yeah, right?
It's like a good lemonade, like
Tomorrow?
apple juice or something before I go to work.
Right into your Fruit Loop cereal.
It definitely not a Rattler. Like they put Rattler on there. It's their own take on it. 100%.
Is it?
Yeah.
Spencer?
Spencer
No.
Rattler?
They should
Stay away.
NIL him.
Should line that up with a South Carolina strawberry lemonade, you know?
Yeah,
Is that where he's at?
Yeah, maybe. Well, that was episode 163. John,
It's a lot.
We're losing count, man.
outro.
Outro.
I want to hear something. Oh, wait. Carrie had something good. Lost art this week. What was it, Michael? That was episode 163. Thank you guys for recording.
It's good radio, guys.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you guys for watching, listening, commenting. Talk to you next week, if not sooner.
Peace.
You've been listening to State of My Sports. From From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.